If you've ever had someone take advantage of your kindness, disrespect your property, or just think the rules don't apply to them, hit that like button. Because this is one of the most satisfying acts of petty, frozen revenge you'll ever hear. I grew up in the Chicago suburbs, and about 20 years ago, my family owned 2 small apartment buildings, 3 units each. We lived in 2 of them, and rented out the other 4. These kinds of buildings were everywhere on our street, what locals called 3 flats. Old brick, narrow driveways, little front lawns, all crammed side by side for a mile. Most of them didn't have private parking, which meant the side streets were a war zone, bumper to bumper, people circling for spots every night. But our property, we were lucky. We had a big enough lot for about 16 parking spaces, neatly lined, paved, and well marked. And for decades, everything ran smoothly. Our tenants respected the rules. Neighbors kept to their side. And for once, suburban life was calm. Then, it started. At first, it was one random car. Then, another. Cars that didn't belong to anyone in our building started showing up, tucked neatly into our lot like they owned the place. At first, I tried to be reasonable. I thought, maybe a guest parked here by accident. No big deal. But then one day, I spotted a shiny sedan taking up not just 1, but 2 of our spots. I waited around to confront the owner. Hours later, when they didn't show up, I decided I'd had enough. So, I blocked them in. Parked my truck right behind their car, nose to bumper, with no way out. I wanted a conversation. I wanted them to explain why they thought my property was their free parking lot. But when I came outside half an hour later, my stomach dropped. They were gone. They had driven through my bushes, actually torn through my yard, snapping branches, leaving tire ruts deep in the soil, just to get out. That's when I saw red. You could probably hear my heartbeat from a block away. I called the police, shaking with anger, but all they said was, "Sorry sir, it's private property. There's nothing we can do." Nothing they could do. Fine. I'd take care of it myself. So I called a towing company, got official, private parking, unauthorized vehicles will be towed signs installed, and made sure everyone could see them. For a while, it worked. A few weeks went by without any incidents. Peace. Finally. But then came New Year's Eve. It was one of those Chicago nights where your breath turns into snow in midair. Below zero, icy wind slicing through your coat. I'd gone out to visit friends and came home just after midnight, ready to crash. And that's when I saw it. Every single parking spot taken. Not just our lot. The street was jammed too. Cars double parked, blocking others in. Headlights fogged with frost. It looked like someone had thrown a block party using my driveway as the venue. My pulse spiked. I called the tow company immediately. They told me, "Sir, it's New Year's Eve. We're swamped. We can't get anyone out for a few hours." A few hours? No. I wasn't waiting around while these strangers trashed my property again. That's when I got the idea. I glanced at the hoses coiled up in the corner of the laundry room, then at the sprinklers stacked nearby. I grinned. If they wanted to use my lot, fine. I'd make it the coldest parking spot they'd ever seen. I dragged everything outside, sprinklers, hoses, connectors, my breath forming clouds in the freezing air. Then I ran a hose through the laundry room window, hooked it up to the hot water tap so it wouldn't freeze up, and connected it to the sprinklers. I set the first sprinkler in the middle of the lot and turned it on. Steam hissed in the air at first, but within seconds, the water turned to a glassy sheet of ice across the asphalt. One by one, I repositioned the sprinklers every half hour. It was almost hypnotic, the rhythmic tick-tick-tick of the sprinkler heads echoing in the night, the hiss of water turning to frost. Within an hour, the parking lot glittered like a frozen lake. Every car was sealed to the ground. By hour 2, I was grinning ear to ear, shifting sprinklers closer to the street so I could freeze the road around the cars too. By hour 3, my fingers were numb, but the sight kept me going, glistening layers of ice climbing the tires, sealing door frames shut. I made sure to spray directly into their locks, their grills, between window seals, anywhere water could creep and freeze. By the time I finally went inside, nearly 5 hours had passed. The entire lot was an art installation of revenge. Dozens of vehicles cocooned in crystalline armor. I hung up the hoses, crawled into bed, and slept like a baby. Around 4 a.m., the pounding started. Fists hammering on the door, doorbells ringing non-stop. I could hear muffled shouting through the walls. "Hey, open up. Our cars are frozen. You did this." I rolled over and smiled. My family stirred, chuckling. We didn't open the door. We just called the cops. When the police arrived, we stepped outside to greet them. The scene looked glorious. Every car was encased in thick ice, like an outdoor ice sculpture exhibit. The drivers, bundled in party clothes and coats, were stomping their feet, trying to chip away at their doors with bare hands, some even pouring warm beer on their locks in desperation. The cops were trying not to laugh. One of them actually turned away, shoulders shaking. The drivers claimed they were told to park here by a friend, a guy who supposedly owned an apartment a few buildings down. My stomach dropped. It was him. The same jerk who drove through my bushes months earlier. I pointed to the giant tow warning sign on the fence. I said calmly, "This is private property. You can see the sign. They're trespassing." The officer nodded. "Sir, would you like us to ticket them?" "Yes, officer," I said, barely holding back a grin. "Please do." One by one, every car got a ticket. And since they couldn't move, the tow trucks were called in anyway. Each car had to be broken free, towed, and impounded. Between the towing fees, tickets, and repairs from all the ice damage. Let's just say those party guests probably paid a lot more than an Uber would have cost. You know, people think revenge has to be loud, explosive. But sometimes, the best revenge is quiet, methodical, cold. There's nothing wrong with standing up for yourself when people cross the line, especially when they've been warned. That night, I didn't just protect my property. I froze entitlement right in its tracks. If that story gave you chills, literally, smash that like button. Tell me in the comments, what's the pettiest or most satisfying revenge you've ever seen? And of course, subscribe for more stories where karma comes icy cold. Outro music fades in slow, smug tone. Because sometimes, justice is best served frozen.